how to make cider. I like beer. A lot of people like beer, and at various points in my life, I've actually I've attempted making homebrew at my house. And last summer, or last fall, about a year ago, I decided I wanted to get back into making beer. But a friend of mine said, beer is fun, but why don't we make cider? Because it's way easier. And I was kind of curious. I was intrigued by it, so I said, yeah, let's try it out. So last fall, I started making cider, and I like it far more than I like beer. It's much easier to make. It's delicious, and it's quite inexpensive, and it's really the easiest thing in the world to make. So I'm going to walk you through those steps today. In order to make cider, there's a few things that you need. Number one, you need apples made into apple juice or cider. You need a 5-gallon bucket. You need a glass carboy, which I'll have a picture of later. You need a hose. You need yeast, and you need some bottles. That's it. So really, juice, bucket, and bottles. And yeast. That's the key stuff. So, first thing you need are apples. And you can get your apples from anywhere. You could actually just go to the store and buy juice. It usually comes in gallon buckets. But it's a little more expensive that way. So if you really want to get into cider, I suggest you find an orchard somewhere that could provide you with juice. The place I go is M&R Orchards at the Western Fair Market. And they're a great service. You can drop off a bucket and come back in a week. And they'll have pressed the apples into your 5-gallon pail, and it's all ready for you to go. So you can drop off 1 pail, 2 pail, 3 pails, as many as you want. And it's a great deal. It's only $1 a liter, which is at least 50% cheaper than buying it in 1-gallon increments. So it's a great business. Once you've bought your cider and taken it home, the next thing you need to do is start fermentation. That's it. You don't have to heat it up. You don't have to cook it. You don't have to sanitize anything. Just get ready to start fermenting. Now, if you want to go really, really organic, the all-natural way, all you have to do is seal the lid and put it in a warm room and let the natural yeast in the air take over. For me, that's a bit too risky. I kind of want to have a little control of the process. So if you buy a package of ale yeast or champagne yeast, any yeast will do that you find at a wine or beer making store, just take it home, add it to 1 cup of water, and let it sit for about 12 minutes, and then just let it rehydrate, get the yeast going again. While you're waiting for your yeast to rehydrate, you might want to, this is completely optional, you might want to take advantage of a hydrometer, which is just a glass tube that's weighted on the end. And all it is it's a device that measures how much sugar is in any liquid. So you take a small sample of your juice, drop the hydrometer into it, and the level that the hydrometer floats at will give you a number, like 10, 7, whatever. And that's a measure of how much sugar. When you're done fermenting it, put the hydrometer in again, it'll sink in further because there's less sugar. You just subtract the 2 numbers and you know how much alcohol is in your beverage. So if you want to measure with a hydrometer, this is the time to do it. During that 10 minutes while you're waiting for your yeast to hydrate. Once your yeast is ready, throw it in the bucket and seal it up with an airlock. So put a lid on it and buy an airlock, which is just a little thing that has water in it. And all it does is it allows gas to escape from inside the bucket, but it doesn't let anything to go back inside. So yeast is sort of an active creature. You can see in our next picture here, after a day or two, your yeast will really start to bubble, churn, and foam. It's releasing gases. It's busy. Yeast is a living creature. So what it's doing is it's eating the sugar that's in the apple juice, and it's turning it into alcohol, and it releases gas. So the airlock lets the gas out. It doesn't let any contaminants back in. So that's all you need to do. Buy juice, throw in yeast, and wait. It only takes a day to start fermenting. Within a week, most of the fermentation is done. I usually wait 2 or 3 weeks just to sort of let it really finish up properly. And then really, your cider is ready. It's ready to drink. It's alcoholic, it's delicious, it's healthy, it's pure. Some people, though, they find it a little cloudy at this point because it'll still have yeast floating around in the drink. So what you can do is take a siphon, and this is the part where cleanliness is always important, but this is where I violate cleanliness a little bit. Just take a siphon, and you put your bucket of juice at the top, and you need a second one, usually a glass carboy, or convex, and you sanitize your hose very, very well. You can dip it in vodka or any bleach solution. Put the bucket here, suck just a little bit on the bottom until the cider starts flowing, and then once it's coming out, put the hose into your next bucket, and siphoning physics will just pull all the cider into the next container. You want to do this carefully. You don't want to disturb the bucket very much because you want the dead yeast sediment to just sit at the bottom. So you pull it all out into the next bucket, into the next container, which is a carboy. It's a glass container like this. You could probably just do it in another plastic container. But the carboy is nice. It looks better. You can actually watch it. It'll clarify over the matter of a week or two. So it sits in the carboy for a couple of weeks, really as long as you want. It's perfectly drinkable. So I would say after 2 weeks in the carboy, so a total of 4 weeks since the day you bought your juice, you're ready to bottle. Now, if you want to just put it straight in a bottle, that's fine, no problem. It'll keep forever. It's great. But if you want to have a carbonated cider, you just need to take about 1 cup of sugar or honey or brown sugar, any sugar that you have, boil it with a few cups of water, and add it to a bucket. And then siphon your cider back into that bucket. So you're just mixing up a sugar and water solution with the juice. And all that's doing is it's giving the yeast that remains just one last little kick to get it fermenting again. And that's where you get carbonation in your drink. So you do that, get your siphon going, put it into bottles. And this is actually the most important part of cleanliness. You really do need to clean your bottles. This is essential. So soak them in a sanitizing solution or bleach for an hour or so. Really scrub them, rinse them well, make sure there's no sediment sitting in the bottom. Clean them out, rinse them, put them down, siphon the cider into them, and cap them up. I prefer Grolsch bottles because they're, the cap's right there. You don't have to buy more caps. And glass always cleans much better than plastic. And that's it. You made cider. If you wait about 2 weeks, it'll have a little bit of fizz to it. If you wait a month or longer, 6 months, it just gets better and better. The flavor mellows out. And it's a really delicious drink. It's only $1 a liter. And it's lots of fun to make. And that's the finished results. Enjoyable.